Hey guys, it's FallenDice, and welcome to episode 42 of FallenDice Plays Better Than Buildcraft. And it's good to be back in my Buildcraft world here. The last couple weeks have been a little bit more difficult to get these kind of episodes out, with the wife being home, and we've both been on leave, which in the military is basically paid vacation. So I haven't really had much time to be able to record. I've gotten some decent time to play, but I prefer to record when I'm by myself, both just for ambient noises in the background, and I don't want to have people thinking they need to be quiet so that I can do my recording thing or just be uncomfortable or just whatever. So I either record at night or I record when I'm the only one at home. And our nights have been, we've been doing a lot of catching up on TV stuff, and and I played some Buildcraft, which those are good, easy episodes to put out. It's more of an LP, so if I get like 20, 30 minutes of time where I can record, I can easily knock one of those out. These ones take a little bit longer. Um, and again, they may be long episodes, like some of these end up getting into 45 minutes to an hour. That's nothing compared to how long it takes me to record them, just because it is a lot of trial and error, and I record a lot of it and then I try to edit it down to the pertinent parts, so you kind of see exactly how things are designed, why they're designed, and kind of get a better feel for I think how the stuff works. So um, today we're going to continue on with our nether projects here. Midas Touch working great. Our Hellfire Dust producing part of this plant here working great. I did add one addition, and that is this over here. And that is a diamond pipe. It was pointed out to me by a few people that sometimes, and that would be a dangerous thing if it were to happen, but sometimes the soul urns don't pop out directly down and could actually come out and land in this obsidian pipe here, which would be a bad thing, because a soul urn ending up in a stoke crucible over there would have catastrophic results. So what I did is I took a diamond pipe and I put it on the back side of our obsidian pipe for our hellfire. And now, if a soul urn does happen to make its way in there, it's just going to get routed right back into the piping system that's going to take it up to a storage chest up there. And the only ones that'll actually make it through to the red firestone generation part will now be the actual hellfire dust. So that is taken care of. So let's head our way up here and let's kind of get an idea for what we plan on doing up here. And this episode's probably going to have a lot to do in the creative world again as we kind of tweak our design on how this is going to work. But as I'd said before, this is going to be the second part is going to be in here. And I not fully yet decided how it's going to work. So this will kind of evolve as this episode moves on. So I'm not even going to try and point out where things are going to go, because if you watch my last episode, I pointed out all over there where stuff was going to go, and it didn't happen that way. So with that, let's just go straight over to our creative world and let me kind of show you some of my ideas of what I'm trying to do here, and then we'll start working on how we actually implement this. So I will see you guys in a sec. Alright, we're back in the creative world, and this is by no means the finished product. Initially what I've done here is I just kind of made us a nice platform to build on, because this is going to be similar to how we're going to be building back in the nether. We got the first floor for running all of our power and stuff like that, and then we'll be building up top. So technically this is actually built one higher, because all this stuff will be the level of the floor, and I'll probably put half slabs over top to make it a little more decorative. In addition, our dispensers are going to be higher, and we'll go through exactly what we're doing here. First off, tipping crucibles. So let's say we go ahead and put an obsidian over here. I don't need the bed anymore. Okay, good. Alright, obsidian pipe, so anything that's inside there is going to just drop. So we'll throw some stuff in here. And again, this is just to kind of demonstrate for those of you that haven't already seen it. I know Akatera's done some stuff with the crucibles, and I think Renevo has as well. But we'll come under here. We'll get our regular piping. And again, I'm doing this to just demonstrate how this works. So let's grab me a regular chest. I always pass it. Alrighty. And now, as soon as I flip this lever here, the mechanical power here will be applied, and all of these are going to tip and dump all their contents into our awaiting obsidian pipe. Once we come underneath, you can see that they're all getting moved over to the chest where they will be stored. The usefulness of this is when you say have a pipe going into a crucible and it will pipe in and then pipe out. Let me try and explain this better. Let's say we've got a crucible here, and we got stuff coming from this chest here. Say that's a transport intake pipe with a mechanical engine there, wood engine. And then over here we got the same thing. You know, we got our intake pipe here, another wood engine, and it's piping over to here. Now, what would be cool is if you could fill this thing up full of cobble. You got your old, fire going here. You're trying to make smooth stone, and if you could only pump out the smooth stone into this chest, and have the cobble coming in, this would be a great way of making or automating your smooth stone. Problem is it as soon as it gets in here, it's pumping it back out. It gives it no time to stay in here and actually cook. It's just constantly moving through. It's almost like this is just another piece of pipe. And that's bad because, we need the time. So what happens is instead of having the intake pipe here with the engine, we put, say, we'll do this again. We put a obsidian pipe there. And again, that's not obsidian pipe, but just pretend for a moment it is. Obsidian pipe goes there, and then comes up over to here into that chest. Now you've got this wood engine is pumping cobblestone into here, and as long as there's room, it's going to keep pumping it in there. And I may have to play with that to see if this is full, will it just drop off to the side, or will it hit and then bounce back? Because I know with like the regular chests and stuff, when it's full, if it's already en route, it gets dumped off. Once it's full, it stops trying to, and I'll have to figure that out. That may be some more, what we may have to put like some gates on here to say, if this is full, then, turn off power to the wooden engine. Again, those are some things for later on. Right now, this is theory. So what happens now is what we're going to do is we'll take and we've got it pumping our cobble in. We got our fire down there. Stoked fire. I think it's stoked fire. I have to remember. Actually, no, it's not a stoked fire. It's just a regular fire, I think, to turn cobble into smooth stone. But when we're doing our redstone, it will be a stoked fire. But anyway, so it's doing a thing. It's cooking. They're getting transmuted, transformed into whatever they're supposed to be. But what we also have going now is we also have coming up here and back into there. And then this is actually going to be lower because, this is our obsidian pipe, and below it's going to be a diamond pipe. And the diamond pipe is going to say, if you're smooth stone, come over into this chest. If you're cobble, go over into this chest. And the purpose of that is we have a timer now. So, it's got cobble being pumped in and going into here. It's getting cooked. At a certain point, the timer kicks in and removes power to the engines, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 we tip our crucibles. So at that point, this crucible will tip on its side, dump all of its contents into the obsidian pipe. The diamond pipe will route our smooth stone over here, cobble over there. And again, I'm actually planning on doing this with redstone and with gold and hellfire dust to make our redstone, but we're just discussing again theory here. At, it stays tipped for however long it needs to. I'll figure that out to dump its contents, and then it goes right side up. This will then start pumping in our cobble back into here, where it'll begin cooking again. So this is just going to keep any cobble that isn't turned into smooth stone. We're just going to keep kind of going through the system in addition to whatever's coming in over to here. And any finished stuff is going to be coming over to here and doing our normal inventory stuff, stacking it up, multiple chests and things like that. Um, hmm. I have to do definitely some interesting thinking to make sure I don't dump stuff here. Because with cobble, I wouldn't really mind dumping cobble. But when it gets down to my gold and redstone, that's going to be a little bit more of an issue. So anyway, so that's how that's working. Now my plan for this is, if you look over here, one side, all the dispensers on one side are supplied by this, and the one other side are supplied by that. And that doesn't quite work, because I need... Yeah, it does. Does it? No. That's a bad idea. What I need to do is have each one of these get supplied by both. Yeah, going there and there. Well, the theory behind this is one set of pipes is going to be dropping in redstone, one set of pipes will be dropping in gold. Then our dispensers are going to be on a timer as well, so they'll be dropping off, an ingot or a stack of ingots and a stack of redstone every so often into our stoked crucibles, where it'll then be converted into redstone. Another timer will then be tipping all these into here. We'll once again have a diamond pipe down there, which will send the redstone and ingots that haven't been already converted into redstone, or I'm sorry, the hellfire dust and ingots that haven't already been converted into redstone back up into the same piping system, and it'll route the actual new redstone into another storage area. In addition, these will be being fed from the room that we completed earlier and from the Midas Touch. So let me figure out how this is before I even raise this up higher, because again, this is also not the height this is going to be at. This is going to be floor level, and these are going to be at the ceiling, and I'll be using how they shoot into each other to make it so it drops straight down. At least that's my idea. I'll have to make sure this actually works, but this is the idea. So let me tweak this a little bit, and then I'll be right back. And then once we kind of have a design, then we can go back and start to see how we want to lay it out, where we're going to put stuff, and maybe even come up with some other things we can do with this setup. So I will be right back. All right. So the dispensers were all facing correctly. If you look inside, each one has two facing towards it. That one has those two. These two are facing each other, and those two are going over there. And like I said, I'll do experiments to make sure that everything drops straight down. We want to make sure things fall inside, and I might just use glass to ensure that. And then what we did, since transport and low transports won't directly connect into each other, I just made them separate paths, and I used the regular transport for the shortest path. That way it shouldn't have issues with slowness or whatnot. So we got one out of each direction. So this one pumps there, that one pumps there, that one pumps there. And the same way, this one goes there, this one goes there, this one goes there. So each crucible is getting supplied now, or the dispenser for each crucible is getting just supplied now. Also, we still have room to run all of our redstone, although that's going to be the fun part. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting project. So I'm thinking the ceiling in this room may be lower than in the previous room, so I'll probably make a room inside of a room to make it easier to conceal the upper redstone and the upper piping. Um, so now that we have that sorted, I'm going to do some experimenting over here now. We'll leave that the way it is just to kind of how that's set up. But we're going to do some experimenting now with this. So let's go with what our actual, these are going to be, like I said, in the floor. Let's grab some stone slabs, which is how this is going to be set out. Yeah, might as well. I would probably just make it a whole four-way around to kind of add to the looks of it. Oops. Oh man, my aim is off right now. Maybe we'll just square it off all the way completely. Again, this will be our... Actually, needs to go down one lower, I think. Yeah, they're going to tip sideways, so yeah, the obsidian pipe needs to be at that level. And then we'll throw a diamond pipe underneath it, just to get them out of the way so I don't have to hold them in my inventory. Okay, good. Get rid of you. Alright. That's that, and then of course, you know, all this stuff is going to be on this level. Which actually I may have to go out one more. One, two... Nope, okay, that's good. And then, yeah, we'll figure out exactly how far out this half slab has to go, but I wanted to make it a nice smooth walking surface other than where the glass is going to be, which means technically at those points, we may have to do, we'll have like our, there, but to walk up and take a peek at it, but at these points here I need to have glass, which means it has to be level. There we go. Nothing's coming this way. That way I don't have to worry about any of my items falling off to the side. So we'll definitely be doing this. Oops. Let's see. At this point right now we are at 1, 2, 3, 4 high. You know, and I think I may actually go one lower. I think 3 high is plenty good. This will be the ceiling of the room because we're going to be putting our block dispensers at this height. Alright, again we've got you're here. Oops. You're here. You're here. You're here. You're here. You're here. Okay. And then of course I think we're using stone bricks. Like I said, this is gonna be our roof, so oops. Get a feel for how it all look as well. And hopefully this, like some of my other projects, I'm hoping that this ends up turning out kind of cool looking. Because unlike a lot of people, I don't pre-plan everything. Like I said, I had this thing set up to kind of get an idea for what my plan was, but not the exact plan. Alright, there we go. So we'll be walking up, and this is going to be our contraption here. So we'll walk up and see this. Although, now that I think about it, the redstone needs to be going into that level, which means I need to go higher. They need to be one higher than the roof. So let me get my glass again so it's easy to break and see. And put our dispensers back. Now I can, this will be the floor of the roof where I can run all my redstone. And then again under here, I just need to, oh, nope, I don't want to break you. You stay there. Good, good, good. That actually works out better anyway. Unless I decided to make that, I may decide to make that smooth stone anyway. We'll see. Alright, so this is kind of be the gist of how it looks. And actually already this is starting to kind of look pretty cool. um, yeah, so you walk in and you get this nice shiny white surface, glass, and it's going to be dropping all of our items down. And since they're going to be tipping them here, I might, you know, that's not a bad idea at all. To make sure, yes, that's a very good idea. Again, I want to make sure that the right numbers drop everywhere. So we're going to fill up our center with glass as well, which means when our dispensers shoot, they're only going to be able to drop into their spot. Let me back out a little more. So yeah, this is going to go up to this level here. So when it shoots, it's going to hit the glass and drop down. You shoot, you're going to hit that dispenser block and drop down into your area. When these get powered and they tip, they're going to tip at one lower than where this glass block is. So I mean, technically, I could even put the glass block up here. Again, once again, this is to ensure we don't get any contamination or anything like that. So now they can't do anything but fall into the crucibles. And then when they tip, they'll fall straight into our obsidian pipe. Nice. I'm thinking I probably will. Let's get an idea on how this looks real fast. That way we won't even see our dispenser blocks. This, oops, going too high. Alright, I've already got you, I think, or whatever. There, there, whoops. Make sure I touch the walls. Oh, you definitely don't go there. Alrighty, and then alright. That actually does look pretty cool. I think I have one spot I missed. There we go. Alright. Yeah, I like this a lot. I really like how this looks. If you look up there, then you can of course see it, but coming in, when you look over there, you're just going to see the items dropping down and stuff. Alright, and maybe what we should do... Oops. I'll take a peek and see what that looks like, but sometimes it's kind of nice to just not see the air blocks around. Yeah, alright. There we go. Yep, I like that. I like it a lot. And we'll probably even say stick a piece of glowstone right there to give it light. Cool. Alright, now, so that's basically the same thing here up there. Now we need to route our goodies. And the goodies get routed, the goodies, the pipes get routed up again because redstone is going to be on this level. So let me do this what I did down there real fast up here, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we've got our pipe set up here. Now it's time to connect these by redstone exactly as they're connected by piping. And I'm not worrying about the timing yet, because I will do the timing later on. I have plenty of room underneath that I can use a lens to shoot, or even just regular vertical wiring to take the timing and send it up and connect it that way. This is all about just getting them to all function off at the same time. So, let me change up my inventory. I'll be right back. Alright, let's see. You and you and you. We're going to start with you first. You're easy enough, just as simple, just like that. Problem is I need to get you over to here while still making this easy to do. Um, Now the question is, I can go up and over. If I power you like this, does that work? I forget some of the simple things. Okay, yeah, it does work. Yep, okay, good. Alright, well that makes that simpler. Alright. So we can make you guys like this. And then you're gonna come over here, actually down to here, and that takes care of that. Okay, now don't want to cross my wiring it anyway, so these will have to go up to 2. I'd like them all shoot at the same time, so as I add more timing to things, I'm going to change it on the other ones. So, okay, you're all good right now. If I were to power this, good. One simple click. That's what we like to hear. Now, over here, what did I do? Oh, okay, good. You're, okay, never mind. Wow, for a second there I thought I'd confused it again. Alright. So right now we're all connected good here. Now it's a matter of coming up and then down. And if I connect redstone here, oh, I don't have, these have a tick, this doesn't. Alright. Well then let's, again, I don't need to, but I would prefer everything firing at the same time. Okay, so now if I go like this, okay, one simple click. Alright, so each time either one of these sets of wires is powered, we're going to send out a single whatever's inside of here. And what I'm probably, I can keep it with ingots, and I can do this on a quick timer. I mean, this won't take a long timer at all. I just got to figure out how long it takes for uh, it to convert the ingots and the hellfire into a redstone, and we'll put the timer around that length. So what will that way um, it'll be sending it'll be doing it at the same time. A big key issue with this whole setup is we don't ever want to put hellfire dust or concentrated hellfire into the crucibles down there without gold, because that will cause us to explode. So there's going to be a little bit more work done here as far as the fine tuning of fail-safing, because I am definitely going to have to try and figure some safety mechanisms out of here to stop this system. Um, yeah. Alright, well let me think on that for a little bit. Right now, I know I can send items down into here with power. We'll figure out our timer later. And I know that I can flip all my crucibles in sequence where I have them there. I know exactly how to set that up. So that's timing as well. But before I get into timing, I really want to make sure I don't blow anything up. So let me work on that for a sec. I'll be right back. Alright, so here's where I'm thinking so far. So we've got our gold coming from a chest. How that gold gets there, whether I walk around and pick up all of the ingots from down at the Midas Touch and manually bring them into this box, or if I decide to run some stuff underneath through the lava, up through the floor and into there and into here. However I decide to do it, and eventually I will probably do it with the automatic way. This chest is going to be important. So what I'm probably going to do is stick a gate right here. And that gate's basically going to be one of the, if chest is empty, send a signal. Now that signal is going to be identical to the signal coming off all my engines, which will be powered by lava, which say if the engine goes red, send a blue signal. So if I have a overheating engine, or I have nothing in this chest, however, whatever which way one of these, it's all going to be connected, intertwined, and whatever. I'll figure out how to do that. It's going to be interesting. It's going to send the same blue signal. That blue signal will then turn off all of the engines that should be pumping everything. In addition, it's going to give us a redstone power, which is going to be connected to some redstone. That is going to be inverted or uninverted or however, which is going to run down, and it is going to turn off the hibachis. I think that's pretty fail-safe. So basically, again, engine overheating, everything shuts down. Everything shuts down. All the engines that are pumping items, hibachis, the mechanical power to flip all this, everything. Nothing will be working. It's probably even going to shut down the timers. Everything will shut down. And then once the engines are cooled down, or I once again have items in this chest, it will start back up and continue on. I think that should be pretty safe. Again, the implementation of this will be the fun part. We're gonna have some creativity here, but once we get into the other room, I think that'll work out. And since we're doing this small room here, I think we're probably gonna have a timer room where we do all the timing, and that's kind of an idea I'm having now as I'm thinking about this to use. Again, we have a large space in there to use up. So, all right, well, let's head back and let's start. Well, I'm gonna do some preliminary since I've already gone over what this is. I'm gonna get this set up on the floor where I want it, and the ceiling. Well, I'll recreate what I've done here over there, and then we'll start working on how we actually want to implement the timing, the gates, and all that safety stuff. So let me get some work done here, and I will be right back. Alright, so here's what I've got so far. I actually ended up doing more designing on the space, and kind of wanted to show that before I start getting into the building. So I'm thinking I'm going to be putting chests along the wall here, and that will be where our finished redstone will be going. And we'll put our actual crucibles and everything right in this area here. And then we've got this entire back area, in addition to a little bit of room up top, because that's where we're going to be running our piping. But timing circuits and other stuff we can do back here. And then, I don't know, maybe this will be where we can store all of our gold. Gold on one side, Hellfire on the other side, you know, when the machine's running, and then we can decide when we want to actually make redstone, flip a switch, but we can still collect all of our items over here in the meantime. So yeah, I think then that means we'll probably end up doing we'll make this a nice room. Alright. Run this across the top. And again, I'm just kind of, like I said, I'm just kind of at the moment kind of plotting out where everything's going to go. And then I suppose from over here we can have access up to the roof would probably be a good idea. So I think we'll stick you there. Kind of can't wait till we can actually place redstone, half stones higher automatically without having to be underneath it. That'll be kind of cool. And I bet you I'm not going to be able to. Nope. Alright. Well, that's fine. But there we go. That'll get us up to the roof where we can play with all this kind of stuff. Planning. I still want to make all this the same height, so we'll be putting that roof in as well, putting in all of our half slabs to prevent any spawning of gas. Just Speaking of which, I bet you I'm not even... Yeah, I'm on peaceful. Silly me. I'm not getting any gold right now. That's not good. In fact, that's less than good. That's bad. Alright, so, got this there. So, yeah, let me figure out exactly where I want to place this exactly, kind of spacing-wise. And I will be right back. Alright, progress report time. This side of the roof may end up being a little bit taller. And I can't really go a lot lower at the bottom as well either, just because of space-wise, so... The whole roof may end up just going up one more level just to even everything out. But you can see what we did before. Now have access to everything. I haven't run the redstone up here yet. Plan on getting to that shortly. We've got our piping run, so we're good there. Got the glowstone. Come down here, and we've got our... I almost call it a centerpiece. I kind of really like how this looks. And I started going this around the outside because we're using this to conceal our redstone wiring, since you can have a... Obviously there's a gap underneath this switch there. So that'll go all the way around the outside of the room, similar to that one over there, and around in here. And of course over here. So it'll, and then this will be like that as well. Got the hibachis down there. So everything right now is on switches. And the reason I have it on switches is just to verify everything works. Once we get towards the final part of this project, then I'll take from where the switches are and I'll actually route it up into the automatic. But I may leave the switches as well just for manual. We'll see how that works. As you see, as soon as I pop that, we have our hibachis on. And right now our crucibles are upright. We flip this switch, and they're now all tipping. So those two parts of the system are wired. One thing I planned on doing as I was looking at this and thinking about it is I don't really want to lose items to the fire. So I'm probably going to have it set up so that when the power goes, or power goes to, I guess it's not power goes to, but when these are unpowered, when the redstone that's going to the mechanical that's controlling these turns off so that these are allowed to tip. At the same time, I'm going to run that power over to the same place where I'm powering my hibachis, so my hibachis will all be turned off. That way there won't be any fire flying up when these things are tipping. And I don't know if I need to or not. I may experiment a little bit with that. But just so I don't lose items to the fire, especially considering that there's going to be hellfire dropping down, and the last thing we want is to have hellfire falling into the hibachi, because that could be bad as well. And I may... I don't know if this is a thing or not. I wonder if they land on a hibachi on the side here. Well, they shouldn't. It should all tip right into here. That's the thing. We'll find out. I just don't want the flames while it's dropping. I'll do experiments on it with some tipping and a lot of them. If that's the case, I may have to put, like, say, a piston on the back side of each one of these that ejects and puts, like, a block out so that it can only drop down, no chance of landing on the hibachis. We'll see as we go. Again, the last thing we want to do is to drop any dangerous, hazardous, explodable materials. I also need to make sure when the hibachi's turned off. Oh, that's easy enough to do. Ah, that's actually really easy to do. If I go like that. Let's see. So we'll just jump down. Actually, it needs to be this one, doesn't it? I set that here. Yep, you're powered, and now good. Bellows is now off. And just to test this, if I turn these on, good. Stoked fire when it's off, no stoked fire, and no longer do I hear the bellows pumping up and down. Simple little things, but definitely like that better. Okay, cool. As you can see, the hibachis are powered fairly simply. Obviously, they're not maximum hibachis because that would require me to go out one more. I don't want to take any chances of burning up my gearboxes. Again, the way this all works, the last thing we want is to accidentally blow something up. And I even put blocks around the outsides of this just because of the rules as far as for things to burn, there's got to be an air block. So technically, I think this makes them safe. If not, I'm sure I'll hear about it. But if I so chose, I could always come back. The other problem with that is once you start doing that, then you've got to also drop down another level because we've got to start powering the inner ones from underneath. And right now, everything's accessible, which is how I like it. So, what is next? Let me head back up top and take a peek here. Obviously, I know I have a lot of routing of stuff to do, and eventually I do need to route the gold from over there into here as well. But that's a later thing. We'll get everything working before we get to that point. Alright. I need to wire up the redstone to these. Set myself up a timing circuit. I'll leave this all unpowered. I just want to make sure everything kind of drops. We want to see the items coming down. We need to test with this how long it takes to cook something. So I'll get like an ingot, or I mean a nugget, and a hellfire dust. Put it in there. We'll crank up the hibachis, and then we'll kind of time it to see how long it takes. And then we'll try and set up a timer up here to equal that amount of time. And then hopefully, once I hit go, we should be able to let this run for a little bit. And about the time that one of these is completed, it should drop another one down. That way we shouldn't, the thing I don't want to run into is getting excess of hellfire versus gold or something to the point. I just don't want this blown up. This is going to take a bit of work to get the way I like it. And I really don't want to have to rebuild it. And I don't think anyone could really blame me. It's like the worst thing about Minecraft is when you have this cool thing that you do and then a creeper comes around and decides to blow it up on you. Or in Buildcraft, you know, engine goes and blows up or something. So yeah, let me set this all up here. I think we're probably starting to get towards a longer episode again, so I'm going to start doing a bit more of this off camera. Explain it enough that you know what I'm doing, and then we'll come back and show it. And hopefully we can get this thing operational before we finish the episode. Alright, so I'm looking at my time and realizing that we definitely are ways in, and aside from me just finishing it and going, here it is, it's done, we're going to have to cut this episode short. So, I have it all working. I had to do a couple changes here. Let me drop down my little quickie hole. I had to add some more bellows. Having that pipe in the middle prevents the bellows from affecting anything but the three in front of it. And I thought maybe it would do at least the outside and just not the one on the other, but it didn't. It's just those three. So I had to put bellows on each side to give them all the same amount of flame power. So with that done, it puts us at about 11 seconds to convert one gold nugget and one concentrated hellfire into 7 redstone. So that gives me my time. So that's my next project. But I had to do a little more tweaking around in here, and I'm still going with that unless someone comes in and tells me otherwise and says for sure this won't prevent it. I'd just rather not take the chance. So right now, this is the only spot that isn't, but that was because the this was getting affected by the this redstone torch. Although, I suppose I could just come in like this. That should work. It shouldn't be able to burn that way, and this won't conduct the power because it's a transparent block. There we go. All right, good. And I'll do that over here as well. Oh, I missed one. Let's just get our full block there. So anyway, we're looking pretty good here. Definitely making progress. I've routed in power over here to this. This is going to be the turntable for all of our power for, or I mean our timing for up there and down below. So that's my next part of this project that I'm going to be working on. Also, I did a few things in the creative world. It only takes one stoked crucible to do it. The more of them that you have going, the quicker it goes, and it's just easier in the circle that I made to do it that way. So I decided to keep it that way. But like I said, it's about 11 seconds each time. So we'll come over here. We'll set our timing up here, so it'll be 11 seconds. So every 11 seconds, it's gonna power all of our dispensers up here to send some more down. And then I don't know, we'll give it maybe like I don't know. I'll have to do the math. We'll find out. You know, if it's every 11 seconds, we get one or 7. You know, we'll figure out. Oops, actually, more like this. So we'll figure out how many. Maybe 2 full rows, and then we'll do the tip. And when the tip happens, again, we'll turn off the hibachis, route all of our unused stuff back up in case there is some, and the rest of it will go ahead and it'll go into some chests over here. So, yep, I think that's good for now. And I'd suggest not giving me any suggestions as far as a better way to do this, because as I do still have time, I'm just going to end the episode here and then just start up the next one right off the bat. So I'll probably have this finished before I even post part 1 of this. So I mean, you can still, give your advice or something like that for anyone else that's reading along. They might make some changes or something like that, but just understand this will pretty much be built before I'll be able to read any of the comments. So, yeah. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you're like how this is turning out so far. I really do. I'm definitely excited for what it'll look like when it's all the way complete. So. Anyway, that'll do it for this episode. Look out for the next one rather shortly. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.